My name is Ryan, and on the surface, I look like the kind of guy who has everything figured out. At 24, I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood where every lawn is neatly trimmed and every window glows warm in the evenings. I work as a junior graphic designer at a mid-sized marketing firm, an office full of fluorescent lights, endless coffee refills, and polite small talk. To my colleagues, I'm quiet, reliable, and maybe even a little boring. But what no one knows, not my parents, not my coworkers, not even my girlfriend Emma, is that I carry a secret that could shatter the picture-perfect life I've built. I crossdress. It isn't something I ever planned. I didn't wake up one morning and think, today I'll slip into a dress. It began slowly, almost accidentally, years ago. At first, it was a curiosity, trying on a piece of clothing that wasn't meant for me. But the moment I felt the smoothness of silk against my skin, the way a pair of heels forced me to stand differently, everything shifted. I discovered a side of myself that was thrilling, dangerous, and deeply personal. Crossdressing wasn't just about clothes. It was about stepping into a version of myself I didn't dare show the world. But secrets have a way of clawing at you, don't they? The longer you keep them, the heavier they feel. My house is small but cozy, a single-story rental tucked between Emma's place and my neighbor Lucas's house. Emma doesn't live with me yet, but she spends so much time here that half her things are already scattered across my dresser. A bottle of her perfume rests next to my deodorant. Her earrings are tangled near my keys. The faint scent of her floral shampoo lingers in my bathroom. It's both comforting and terrifying. Comforting because Emma has become my world. Terrifying because her presence makes my secret life nearly impossible to hide. Our neighborhood is the kind where people know each other's routines. Mrs. Henson, the widow across the street, waters her roses every morning at 7. The Johnson kids play basketball until the streetlights flicker on. Lucas, my neighbor, is the kind of guy who thrives on dares, challenges, and jokes that sometimes cut a little too deep. If anyone were to suspect something about me, it would be him, and that thought alone keeps me up at night. Emma is warm, quick to laugh, and far more adventurous than I'll ever be. She's a nurse, steady, compassionate, and strong in ways I can only admire. We've been together for nearly 2 years, and we've built a relationship that feels both exciting and fragile. Exciting because Emma pushes me to try new things. Fragile because she values honesty above all else. She often tells me, "Ryan, I don't care what it is, as long as you're honest with me." And yet, here I am, hiding the biggest truth of my life. When Emma comes over, I'm the boyfriend she expects. Laid-back jeans, plain t-shirt, a smile that masks the storm inside me. But when she leaves, when the night stretches out and silence fills the rooms, I become someone else. Someone braver. Someone freer. That duality gnaws at me. Part of me longs to tell her, to show her the side of myself that comes alive in dresses and heels. But another part, the louder, more frightened part, whispers that if she knew, she would look at me differently. Maybe with disgust. Maybe with pity. Maybe she'd walk away altogether. So I keep it buried. Every time I open the hidden box under my bed, the one where I keep a carefully folded dress, a pair of stockings, a set of cheap makeup palettes, I feel a rush of adrenaline. My heart races, my palms sweat, and I half expect someone to knock on the door the moment I lift the lid. But when I slip into those clothes, when I catch my reflection in the mirror, something inside me exhales. It's like stepping into sunlight after hiding in shadows all day. Of course, it's not without fear. What if Emma came back unexpectedly? What if Lucas peeked through a window? What if someone found out? These questions echo in my head every night. But the thrill of it, the heartbeat in my ears, the way my body feels both exposed and powerful, keeps pulling me back. Emma had mentioned earlier that week that she might have a late shift. "Don't wait up for me," she had said with a smile, kissing me goodbye. That should have been a relief. Hours of solitude, no risk of interruption. But in the back of my mind, a whisper lingered. What if she changes her mind? What if she comes home early? And then there was Lucas. Just the day before, he'd caught me off guard with one of his jokes. We were standing outside when he smirked and said, "You're always so put together, Ryan. Ever thought about how you'd look in a dress? Bet you'd pull it off." I laughed it off, of course. But his words stuck to me like burrs. Did he suspect? Was it just a joke, or something more? That night, alone in my house, with Emma gone and the neighborhood wrapped in quiet, I found myself staring at the box under my bed. My pulse quickened. The bet Lucas had tossed out so casually echoed in my head, daring me. Ever thought about how you'd look in a dress? And that's where the story really begins. The house felt impossibly quiet that night. Too quiet. Ryan stood in the center of his bedroom, staring at the closed curtains as though they might betray him. His chest rose and fell with shallow breaths, each one laced with hesitation. He told himself it was foolish, irrational, even, to think Emma would suddenly walk through the door. She had texted him earlier. Late shift. Don't wait up. That should have been reassurance enough. And yet, his nerves sparked like live wires. He crouched beside the bed, fingers hesitating before sliding beneath it. His hand brushed the cool cardboard of the hidden box. Just touching it made his pulse race, like he was about to commit a crime. Carefully, he pulled it into the open, lifting it as though it contained something fragile, sacred. When he opened the lid, a soft scent of fabric, powdery and faintly floral, rose up. Inside lay his small collection, a navy blue dress he'd bought online late one night under an alias, a pair of sheer stockings, a modest pair of black heels, and a wig he rarely dared to wear. Beside them sat a small makeup pouch with foundation, mascara, and lipstick that Emma would never miss because they weren't hers, cheap duplicates he'd purchased in secret. Ryan's fingers hovered over the dress, trembling slightly before lifting it out. The fabric slipped through his hands like water, smooth and delicate in a way his regular clothes never were. He held it up against his body, staring into the mirror. Even in his plain t-shirt and jeans, he could almost imagine. Almost. Swallowing hard, he peeled off his shirt, his jeans, until he stood in nothing but boxers. Vulnerability washed over him like cold rain. The air felt sharp against his bare skin, raising goosebumps. He stepped into the stockings first, rolling them carefully up his legs. The silky resistance made him shiver. Every step of this ritual was both terrifying and liberating. Next came the dress. He eased it over his shoulders, tugging the fabric down, adjusting it around his frame. It was snug in places, loose in others, but when he smoothed it over his torso, he felt transformed. Not fully, not yet, but enough that his breath caught. Enough that his reflection startled him. Then came the heels. He slipped his feet into them, the unfamiliar height forcing him to adjust his balance. He took a cautious step, then another. The click of the heels against the wooden floor sounded deafening in the silence. Each step was like a drumbeat in his chest. Thump, thump, thump. Ryan turned to the mirror again. For a moment, he forgot to breathe. The person staring back wasn't exactly a woman, but it wasn't the Ryan the world knew either. It was something in between, fragile, elegant, strangely powerful. He touched the mirror, fingertips grazing the glass as though he could reach through and pull that other version of himself into reality. But the rush of thrill came with an equal wave of dread. What if Emma saw me like this? What would she think? Would she even recognize me? Or would she see nothing but a stranger in her boyfriend's place? His throat tightened. He wanted to believe she would understand, that she would see this part of him and embrace it. But the fear of rejection, of seeing her eyes widen with disgust, kept him silent. The makeup was the final step. He sat at the edge of his bed, opening the small pouch. His hands shook as he applied the foundation, trying to even his skin tone. It wasn't perfect, patchy in places, too pale in others, but when he brushed on mascara and traced lipstick across his lips, the transformation deepened. Ryan leaned back, studying himself in the mirror. He didn't look like the Ryan his coworkers knew. He didn't look like Emma's steady, reliable boyfriend. He looked like someone else. Someone beautiful in an unconventional way. And for a dangerous, fleeting moment, he felt proud. Then, a sound. A sharp knock. Ryan froze, breath catching in his throat. His heart slammed against his ribs. He turned toward the door, listening. Another knock, louder this time. Panic flooded him. Who could it be? Emma? No, she had her late shift. A neighbor? Lucas? The thought made his stomach lurch. He tiptoed toward the window, careful not to let the heels click too loudly. Peeking through a sliver in the curtains, his breath stopped. It was Lucas, standing on the porch, hands shoved in his pockets, that casual smirk on his face. Ryan stumbled back from the window, chest heaving. Of all people, why him? Why tonight? The knocking stopped, replaced by Lucas's voice, muffled but unmistakable. Yo, Ryan? You in there? Thought I'd check if you wanted to hang out. Or are you too busy with your secret hobbies? The words froze him in place. Did Lucas know? Ryan pressed his back against the wall, heart hammering as Lucas's voice carried through the door. Come on, man. Don't tell me you're asleep already. It's only 10. Open up. Ryan squeezed his eyes shut, praying that silence would make Lucas give up. His breath came shallow, almost painful against the lipstick-tightened line of his mouth. He clutched the hem of the dress, trying to quiet the trembling in his hands. The heels felt like anchors, trapping him in place. Then came the worst sound imaginable, the rattle of the doorknob. Ryan's entire body stiffened. He had locked it earlier, hadn't he? His mind scrambled back, replaying the moment. Yes, he had. He was sure of it. Still, Lucas jiggled the knob like he had every right to come in. You hiding something, buddy? Lucas called, his tone teasing but edged with curiosity. Or someone. Ryan's stomach churned. That line, delivered with a chuckle, hit too close to the truth. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the sound of footsteps retreated down the porch steps. Ryan dared a single breath, chest loosening just enough for relief to trickle in. He leaned against the wall, whispering to himself. Too close. Way too close. But relief came too soon. His phone buzzed on the nightstand. He hurried over, still wobbling in the heels, nearly tripping on the hem of the dress. When he saw the screen, dread spiked again. Lucas, nice outfit. Blue suits you. Ryan's blood went cold. He turned to the window instinctively, and there it was. The faint glint of a phone camera lens, retreating from the shadows of Lucas's yard. He had seen. He had proof. Ryan's world tilted. His secret, the one thing he swore never to let anyone discover, now sat on Lucas's phone. The neighbor's joke, the bet, suddenly transformed into something sharper, more dangerous. The phone buzzed again. Lucas, relax. I won't tell if you play along. Ryan ripped the wig off his head, tossing it aside like it burned. His reflection in the mirror looked wild, lipstick smeared, mascara smudged, dress hanging crooked. The transformation that had felt so liberating minutes ago now felt like a noose tightening around his throat. Another buzz. Lucas, come outside. In heels. You owe me that much. Ryan's breath caught. No. He couldn't. If Emma came home, if anyone saw, his life would be over. But if he didn't? Lucas had the photo. One click, one careless share, and Ryan's entire world would collapse. He staggered across the room, tugging the dress hem with trembling fingers. His body screamed for him to change, to hide, to destroy the evidence of this night. But something darker, a mix of dread and adrenaline, pushed him forward. His hand gripped the doorknob. He could hear his own pulse louder than the quiet hum of the street outside. Finally, with a shaky exhale, he cracked the door open. Cool night air spilled inside, brushing over his bare arms. Lucas leaned casually against the fence, phone still in hand, that trademark smirk plastered across his face. There he is, Lucas drawled, voice dripping with amusement. Knew you'd look good like that. Ryan swallowed hard, stepping onto the porch. The heels clicked against the wooden boards, each sound magnified by the stillness of the night. His cheeks burned. His legs trembled. Delete the photo, Ryan managed, voice hoarse. Lucas chuckled. Oh, I will. Don't worry. But first, you've got to prove something. See, I wasn't kidding the other day. I bet you'd look amazing in a dress. And, well, guess I was right. Ryan's hands curled into fists, but the dress clung to him like proof of guilt. "What do you want?" he asked through clenched teeth. Lucas's grin widened. "Simple. Walk down the street. Just to the corner and back. In those heels. Let me see how well you can own it." Ryan's stomach dropped. The street wasn't deserted. Porch lights glowed. Curtains shifted. The risk of anyone seeing him like this was unbearable. And yet Lucas held all the power, phone glinting in the dark like a weapon. Ryan shook his head, voice breaking. "I can't." "Then I guess I hit send," Lucas replied smoothly, raising the phone. Ryan's chest heaved. His eyes darted back to his house, to the safety just steps away. But then his phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't Lucas. It was Emma. Shift ended early. Be there in 10. The world collapsed around him. If she arrived now, if she saw him like this, humiliated, paraded in front of the neighbor, everything he feared would come true. Ryan's hands shook as he lifted the hem of his dress slightly, heels wobbling as he stepped off the porch. Lucas clapped slowly, mockingly. "Attaboy. Or, should I say, girl?" Each step down the driveway felt like a nail in a coffin. The heels sank into cracks, his ankles screaming for balance. The night air was sharp against his exposed legs. He reached the sidewalk, every shadowed window feeling like an audience. And then headlights cut across the street. A car pulling in. Emma's car. Ryan froze, trapped in the glare, dress fluttering in the breeze. Lucas's laughter echoed like a cruel drumbeat behind him. The car door opened. "Ryan." Emma's voice called, puzzled, uncertain. The lipstick still stained his lips. The wig lay discarded in the bedroom. But the dress, the heels, there was no hiding them now. Ryan turned, face pale, eyes wide. Emma stood there, frozen halfway between shock and disbelief. And Lucas? He raised his phone higher, recording it all. The silence between them was unbearable. Ryan stood frozen on the sidewalk, every nerve screaming as Emma's eyes scanned him from head to toe. Her lips parted, as though she meant to speak, but no words came out. The night air pressed heavy on his skin, carrying the faint hum of crickets, the distant bark of a dog. But here, between the three of them, time felt suspended, sharp as broken glass. Ryan's throat worked as he tried to explain. "Emma, Lucas cut in smoothly, stepping closer, his phone raised like a knife. "Pretty wild, huh? Your boyfriend's got some interesting hobbies." Emma's eyes darted to Lucas, confusion flashing into anger. "What the hell are you doing here, Lucas?" Ryan's pulse thudded harder. Lucas only grinned, unbothered. Just being neighborly. Making sure Ryan doesn't keep secrets from the people who matter most. Emma's gaze snapped back to Ryan. "Secrets." The words sliced through him. Ryan's lips trembled. It's not what you think." But how could he say that, standing there in heels and a dress, mascara still clinging to his lashes? How could he twist the truth when the evidence screamed louder than he ever could? Emma's expression hardened, her jaw tightening. She took a step forward, closer now, close enough that Ryan could see the disbelief swirling in her eyes. "Then what is it, Ryan?" she demanded. He shook his head, words failing him. He wanted to tell her everything, that this wasn't some joke, that it wasn't shameful or wrong, that it was him. But fear strangled the confession in his throat. And Lucas, ever the opportunist, leaned into the tension with a smirk.
"Go on, Ryan.
Tell her about our little bet." Emma's brow furrowed. "Bet?" Ryan's chest tightened like a vice. Lucas chuckled, lowering his voice just enough to sound conspiratorial. "I told him he'd look good in a dress. Guess I was right. Didn't think he'd take it seriously, though. Not until tonight." Emma's head turned sharply toward Ryan again, her voice rising. "So this is because of him? Because of some childish dare?" Ryan's eyes burned.
"No."
"Emma, it's not." But Lucas was faster, his words cutting in.
"He wanted this."
"You should have seen him inside, all dolled up. Guess I interrupted his private fashion show." Ryan's face flushed hot with shame. Lucas's words painted him as pathetic, desperate, weak. And yet, Wasn't that exactly how he looked right now? Emma's arms folded across her chest, her silence suddenly more dangerous than shouting. Ryan took a step toward her, heels wobbling on the cracked pavement. Emma, please. Just listen. This isn't about Lucas. It's something I've been hiding. From everyone.
Even you.
Her arms loosened, but her face stayed guarded.
Why?
The question gutted him.
Why?
Because he was terrified. Because the thought of losing her outweighed the need for honesty. Because part of him still couldn't reconcile the two halves of his identity. Ryan opened his mouth, searching for words, when Lucas's phone buzzed in his hand. He smirked, showing the screen. Careful what you say, buddy. I've got proof. And it'd be a shame if it went viral. Ryan's stomach dropped. He lunged a step forward, but Lucas jerked the phone out of reach. Emma's voice cracked like a whip. You recorded him? Are you kidding me? Lucas shrugged. Hey, insurance policy. Ryan knows how this works. He keeps playing along, the video stays between us. Her eyes widened, horrified. You're blackmailing him? Lucas grinned. Call it motivation. The air turned thick with tension. Ryan stood between them, dress clinging to his trembling body, the heels grounding him in a nightmare he couldn't escape. His girlfriend, furious, betrayed. His neighbor, smirking, in control. And himself, caught like prey in a trap he had built with his own silence. Delete it, Emma demanded, stepping toward Lucas. Right now. Lucas raised a brow. And if I don't? Emma's voice sharpened, her nurse's calm cracking into steel. I'll call the cops. Lucas's grin widened. Go ahead. But you think they'll get here before I hit send? Your precious boyfriend will be the star of the neighborhood group chat by sunrise. Ryan's knees nearly buckled. He pressed a hand to his chest, trying to steady his breathing. Panic clawed at him, but so did something else, rage. He'd been cornered his whole life by fear. Fear of judgment. Fear of rejection. Fear of the truth. And now Lucas had turned that fear into a weapon. Something inside him snapped. No, Ryan said, his voice steadying. You don't get to control me. Lucas blinked, mock surprise flickering across his face. Big talk, Cinderella. Ryan stepped closer, the heels clicking sharp against the pavement. His body trembled, but his voice didn't waver. This, what I wear, who I am, it's not yours to twist into a joke. Emma's eyes widened slightly, watching him, searching for sincerity. Lucas smirked. Brave words. But if you really mean that, then prove it. Right here. Right now. Ryan stiffened. Prove it how? Lucas leaned in, his tone dripping with cruelty. Walk with me. Around the block. Hand in hand. Like the girl you're trying so hard to be. Emma gasped. That's enough, Lucas. But Ryan froze. His heart pounded in his chest, every beat echoing the impossible choice before him. Humiliation on display, or letting Lucas win by shrinking back into shame. Emma's voice cut through the night, desperate now. Ryan, don't. You don't have to do this. But Lucas's smirk and the phone's lens gleamed in the dark, the threat hanging heavy in the air. And Ryan? He took one trembling step forward. That night, as I was leaving the office in my pencil skirt and blouse, I caught my reflection in the glass doors. For the first time, I didn't flinch. I almost smiled. Just then, my boss's voice called out from behind me, firm, but laced with something I couldn't read. Don't get too comfortable, she said, stepping closer, her heels clicking against the marble floor. Because tomorrow, your real test begins. And trust me, this one will decide whether you stay my pretty assistant forever. My heart froze. I wanted to ask what she meant, but before I could, she pressed a sealed envelope into my hands. Open it tomorrow morning, she whispered with a smirk. Alone. I clutched the envelope as she walked away, her perfume lingering in the air. My palms were sweaty, my chest pounding. What could possibly be inside that envelope, and why did I feel both terrified and excited?